During remote learning at the end of the previous school year, we encouraged our teachers to reach out to get their Google certification. Many of them got Google certification level 1 and went on to try and do certification 2. We actually had a few people that wanted to be a Google certified trainer. One of those such people, Mike Meehan, was very excited and wanted to do some instruction for the staff. He is providing lunch and learn on Wednesdays so that the staff can come see new ideas and new resources to use in engaging students in the classroom.
So I wanted to become a Google trainer because, especially with the switch to remote learning last spring, knowing how important technology was going to be, I already have my Google level 1 certification. So when we made the switch to remote learning, I wanted to expand a little more into the Google apps and to be able to use all of them. So I worked and I looked over some of the apps and I got my level 2 in March. And then I just didn't want to stop there. I wanted to keep going to learn more, to be able to efficiently and effectively teach my kids with technology. So I've been in the process of looking into becoming a Google trainer or a Google innovator. And one of those things that was needed for that was to have 5 training sessions that I would present to staff. So I asked Ms. Atkins what she thought about, maybe providing some training sessions, maybe during like a lunchtime, since we had a little bit longer for lunch now, that we were remote, and she thought it was a good idea. So the first training that I did with the staff was Google Classroom tips. So just kind of how to make Google Classroom easier to navigate for the students. Because like everything, all of these lunch and learns, the number one target was how can we make learning easier, or just how to make it more effective for students, right? So with the first session with the Google Classroom tips, just how to organize it into topics, how to schedule posts, how to use the rubric function. All of those kind of things were definitely helpful when we made the switch to virtual learning.
Greetings, my name is William Osborne, and I would like to welcome you to Westlake Middle School, home of the Wildcats. I'm very excited to be here with you all today. This is actually my first year in education. So it's a lot of new things, a lot of new learning that I've been partaking in a part of. One in particular is our lunch and learn experience. We've had like a few different of our staff members who are excellent. I'm talking about superb. They've been, sharing the knowledge with the rest of the staff members. We have Mr. Meehan, Ms. Painter, and I believe Mr. Guzma had one on today. So it's been very nice to participate in those virtual learning segments. I know the kids probably would enjoy them too if they, could participate in time. But for right now, like I said, it's definitely been a blessing to be able to have the staff, support someone who is brand new to this whole system. Makes it a lot more easier to do that transition. So yeah, I'm excited.
As teachers, we're so used to brick and mortar style of teaching, especially having just graduated as a first year teacher. A lot of what I was learning was how to teach in the way that we were used to teaching. But now with the coronavirus and students not being in the classroom anymore, we've kind of had to change that procedure and move away from brick and mortar and move more towards how can we implement different strategies online to engage our students and to get them participating and getting buy-in. So one thing that we've been doing as a school has been lunch and learns. And those have been hosted by different people and teaching us different skills that we can use to help engage our students.
I feel like doing the lunch and learns with the staff has been really helpful just to kind of become more effective with technology. A couple of the lunch and learns that we've done, the first one we did, like I said before, was the Google Classroom tips. So just showing the staff how to navigate Google Classroom, how to post Google Meets, how to separate your units into topics, how, what kind of things would be easier for the students whenever they are navigating this from home, because you are not going to be right over their shoulder pointing to them. So just making it organized for the students, that was the number one goal with this session. Other sessions that we did were creating digital escape rooms, because student engagement, it starts with finding ways to get the kids excited about learning, and then creating experiences around the content, and then just making it fun, right? Making learning fun. You want the kids to come to your class, and some of the things that I've done in class that I did it for a lunch and learn were creating digital escape rooms, using Google Forms, using Google Slides. Just having that competition aspect to it definitely increases engagement. Some of the things that the kids would do, they would analyze various resources, text, pictures, charts, graphs, just having it different, just putting a new coat of paint on what you're teaching. You're teaching the same stuff, but just with a new coat of paint. It definitely increases the kids' engagement and makes it more interesting and just more appealing to them, if you will. Another lunch and learn that I did was how to create manipulatives in Google Slides. In the classroom, you would normally use index cards and have the kids use something with their hands to make learning a little bit more interactive. Obviously, with virtual learning, that's a lot harder to do. But using Google Slides, you can make so many different activities within your lessons, like drag and drop. Give them a text, and for each question, have a little arrow there and have them drag the arrow to the spot in the text that answers that question. Having true and false in two different categories, having them drag and drop the different statements after they read text. Placing events in chronological order. So all those things, just definitely makes learning more engaging, more interactive. And another one of the lunch and learns that we did was how to make your Google Slides into a work of art. Because I'm a strong believer that kids look at an assignment, and in the first couple seconds they automatically think, this is going to be awesome, or like, oh man, this is going to be hard to keep focusing on. So just different kind of techniques to changing the fonts, adding animation, adding Giphy, all those kind of things that can make your lessons more engaging for the kids is crucial.
To have to go through a whole virtual setting, I know can be probably challenging for some of the students. And I was always wondering, like, how can we keep this interesting? How can we make sure that the students are still engaged and, they want to participate? So when I went to the lunch and learns and I saw how Mr. Meehan would, create the Google Slides and make them interesting, and not just, this slide. It was actually like kind of a game or maybe a puzzle. I thought that was interesting, something to kind of keep the kids more engaged. So the fact that the education system has found new ways to teach and, use different resources and make sure that we don't let kids get left behind, I think that's very big, because they could have, fell and cracked with all the pressure that's been going on. But I feel like that all the teachers and everyone within the education system kind of stepped up and accepted that challenge. So, like I said, for someone who is new, it's nice to see that there has been things put in place to kind of make sure that we cross that bridge as smoothly as possible.
The other thing that we've done, as you will see, is our teachers have focused on assessing students in different ways in this new online virtual environment. If an assessment is one that is a multiple choice or a simple answer, fill in the blank, or something that a student could actually Google to get the information, we're kind of, those days have changed for our students and for our staff. So the staff has done a great job of collaborating, working together in their PLTs, analyzing what the students have learned, and then creating assessments that are more of a problem-based, project-based, open-ended types of questions for students to show their understanding and learning of the standards.
one thing that we've done within our 8th grade PLT was step away from the normal brick and mortar kind of assessment with Google form. Here's 35 questions. So what we've done is we actually gave the kids an essential question to answer, just one essential question. And for the first unit was about the colonial era, and the question that they answered was colonization good? So they needed to have 5 different sources, 5 different pieces of evidence, 5 reasons why they picked either one side or the other. And within this project, something that I really enjoyed looking at and grading them on and assessing them on was they had different options to pick from on how to present this information. So it was not just going to be in an essay kind of format. The kids had 12 different options to pick from. Some of the options were creating a podcast, creating a newspaper like you were a journalist, creating a rap. I had a couple students who did a rap, and man, it was phenomenal. You could create a blog. You could create a museum using one of the online websites. A couple kids created Lego scenes, just creating scenes that supported what they thought about colonization, and that was awesome to see. A couple other kids, they created a mural with a one-page explanation on what they thought, whether it was good or bad. So just kind of, and then one of them created a board game. It was colonists versus Native Americans, and man, it was super well done. It was very intricate. It showed the actual board. It kind of looked like a Monopoly board. They created cards. If you land on this spot, oh, this is going to happen to you, which refers back to stuff that we've learned within that unit. And it was just awesome to see all these things that the kids picked up on within our lessons that we talked about. But just giving the kids like a freedom to pick what they want to do, I think it was pretty. Each of these options was pretty well represented across the board. We gave the kids 4 different columns, and each column was 3 options. One column was for kids who were more verbal. They like to write things. One column of options was for kids who preferred to do things digitally. One column was for kids who excelled with doing physical building, like with the Legos. And then there was another column that had options if they were more artistic, if they liked art, if they wanted to create a game board or a mural, that kind of thing. So just kind of just seeing what they picked and just them showing their personality through this project was phenomenal.
As you have observed throughout our school community today, I hope you've noticed the high levels of collaboration and teamwork that the amazing Westlake staff team has already embedded into their daily work to provide such rigorous and engaging virtual learning for our students.